Excellent. Shows us live on our YouTube and Facebook page.
I just got my notification.
See, it works. There's method in the madness.
Yeah.
Perfect. Awesome. And it looks like, yeah, I see a couple of people already on here with us, Tara and Brian Head. I will go ahead and stop this banner from moving forward and just get us kicked off. Happy Monday to everyone. Welcome back from a holiday weekend. If you observe Thanksgiving, then I hope you had a great time. If you observe Hanukkah, then happy Hanukkah to you, since that was also just the other day. So I want to welcome you back to our live broadcasts. We are here on a weekly basis to help educate you on resources, what's going on in the community, some of it around COVID, some of it around business, City Hall, kind of a mixture of everything. But before we move forward, I want to remind you that the best way to stay in the know on what's going on in your community is to engage with us on all of our social media platforms. Not only here on our Facebook broadcast and our YouTube channel, we're also on LinkedIn at Westminster Chamber of Commerce, on Twitter and Instagram at Westy Chamber. The different platforms allow for us to share different updates. And so if you're only coming to us through one source, you may not see every single other thing that we're doing. And we want to make sure that you're not missing out. Of course, our website is westminsterchamber.biz that you can go to as a resource at any point in time. Now, along the way, as you are hopping on, we always like to see who's on here with us. You can comment our way a good morning message, both to Councilor Seymour and myself, as our past chairman Brian Head has done. You can also give us any remarks that you have if there is content that's being shared or maybe questions that pop to mind. Again, it will display your photo as Dave Carpenter's has displayed, and it will show his message of a nice good morning, both to the councilor and myself. Of course, always love to see our Mayor McNally, on here with us, tuning into the broadcast. I know she has been equally as busy this past weekend with baking and supporting the heart of Westminster and our South Historic Corridor. So thank you for being on here once again with us, Mayor. And then our current board chairman, Brian Dice, giving a good morning message to both Rich and myself. So this is the way that we know who's on here with us. We love the flattery. We love the compliments. We love the good morning remarks. It gets us energized, but more importantly, gives us an idea of who is on here so we can try and cater our message to you and hopefully narrow it down to points of interest that may resonate with you the most. Again, as our counselor is sharing updates, if you have any questions or thoughts, feel free to type them into the chat. That's where we will be picking them up from. Now, we've started something new, and I shared this with you as a precursor last week with our mayor, and that's being a little more inclusive with our city councilors, all of them. And so what our mayor had suggested that we've begun implementing is every week showing someone from our city council. It could be a city councilor, our mayor pro tem, our mayor, city manager, giving you an update from their lens of what's going on. Now, all of them obviously are involved in similar things, but sometimes there's someone that wants to provide an additional detail around something in specific, and it also helps you to hear and get familiar with who you've elected to better serve you. So good morning, Emilio. Thank you for being on here with us as well. Today I have with us, of course, Councilor Seymour. And Councilor Seymour, we also have Mayor Pro Tem DeMott as well on here with us. So I'm glad you brought the rest of your councilors to join you this morning. But you've got a load of things. We touched on them a little bit right before we hopped on here. And so I don't want to take over the broadcast. I want you to be able to share those details with us. I'll try and capture them all in the comment section. And then, of course, ask you any questions that come up along the way. But I'm very excited to have you on here with us.
Well, thank you very much, Juliet. And since I can't type the comments in at the same time, I'll put in my weekly comments verbally. Good morning, Westminster. So it's a little bit odd being on this end, but busy times right now in Westminster. I'm gonna give a shameless plug here for the chamber because it is We Love Westy time. It's kicked off on November 27th and runs through January 3rd. Please shop, dine, do business with local businesses. You can find the business that are participating in the We Love Westy at the chamber page, and I'm sure Juliet's going to share a link right now. But great opportunity to do business locally. We just got off, Saturday was Small Business Saturday, which is always a great day to kick off the holiday gift giving period and buying locally. Remember, someone mentioned there's no supply chain issues when you buy from local artisans and stores too. So that's a great thing. But you can get tickets to enter into the contest with a drawing up to $5,000 in prizes live on January 3rd at 5 p.m. So that's my shameless plug for the chamber.
We love it. Thank you so much. The link's been displayed. It's also in the comment section. If you have an interest in learning more about the campaign or have questions around who is participating, that's where you'll gain more of that information.
Well, additionally, too, it is a great time of year. A lot of things to enjoy with the family. The tallest living tree in Colorado, and there's always a battle on some of the news reports about that, but we get hiked on that every year. The great firefighting crews led by Station 1 at Fireman's Park. The tree was decorated on the 30th. There will not be a big lighting ceremony, unfortunately, this year, but hopefully it's back to that next year. So it's an amazing thing to see and witness down on 73rd next to the fire station. You can't miss it in Fireman's Park. So that was a great thing. Coming forward this week, also down in historic Westminster at Grange Hall is a fabulous train show. It's a great place to take the kids and grandkids. They'll be fascinated for a long time. They're a great distraction. That runs from 9 to 2 at the Grange on 73rd, and also from 10 to 2 this Saturday at the Bulls House Museum, 3924 West 72nd Avenue. From 10 to 2, it is the Victorian Christmas. So the Bulls House is decorated. It's all a great museum, but then it's decorated with an incredible number of trees by volunteers from the Westminster Historical Society. So take the opportunity to visit those two places this Saturday, and you can take a look at the tree. It'll still be light, but it's still beautiful. And then on Saturday, to cap off the evening at 5:30, the lighting of the Christmas tree at City Hall, always a fabulous event. So glad to be back there again. Opportunities, there'll be carolers, there'll be entertainment, there'll be food trucks. Come early. I usually say dress warm, but it's going to be 65 or 70. Who knows that day? But at least we're not all freezing to death on that. So that's on the also on the 4th. And then something for all of our nonprofits and for those who have giving in their heart. December 7th is Colorado Gives Day, and many of our local nonprofits gave everything they had during the pandemic, and so they need some extra help this year. And so you can go to coloradogives.org and pick out your favorite local charity, one-time gift, or you can even set up for continual giving. So that's just a few of the things that are happening right now.
Just a few things for sure. Quite a bit of things. A lot that's going on in our South Historic part of Westminster. So I'm so glad that you gave that shout out, especially around the tree. I feel like that has been newsworthy. Every year there's been some sort of debate around whether or not it's the largest. I hold to that fact. It has to be because it's in our community. But for those of you that have any questions or interest in learning more about the tree lighting for the city of Westminster, the link is included, of course, in the comments section posted on the website as well for you to reference. Information about all of our events that are going on at the Grange and of course at the Bells Museum, it can be found on their Facebook pages. We're also going to be posting kind of those upcoming holiday events for you so you can find it all in one place. And then of course our Councilor Seymour also referenced Colorado Gives Day. That's also quickly approaching here in December, and cannot emphasize enough what he referenced. Our nonprofits have given back even more with just the same, if not less, over this last year. year. So you can follow this link to find out more information around that. I don't want to lose sight. It looks like we also have Councilor Nurmela that's on here with us. So good morning to you. Thank you for joining us for this broadcast. I don't see any comments. I think people are frantically, oh wait, no, there's one. I was gonna say, I think people are frantically writing these dates down so that they can have that. No, Ryan is sharing, in addition to being a great city councilor, Rich was a founding board member of the chamber and is responsible for so much of the successes that we've had over the years. So thank you so much, Brian, for that statement. So that shameless plug really was deep down from Rich's heart. He was, prior to me, has been very plugged in, and even after I've been here for 4.5 years, he has been championing small business. So thank you so much for that statement, Brian. I don't see any additional comments our way, Councilor. So if we want to keep moving forward, let's get this going.
Well, thank you, Juliet, and thank you, Brian. Appreciate that. Chamber's obviously in my heart. So some of the items going on locally, the one that popped up this last week was a public health order for indoor masking that was propagated by both Tri-County, which affects the Adams County east of Sheridan side of Westminster, and then Jefferson County Public Health, who had a hearing last Monday, the Jefferson County part that I participated in and testified in, that went from 11 in the morning until when I had to sign off and leave for council at 5. And so it continued after that. But the chamber had propagated a letter with some key bullet points as far as where businesses were as far as masking and the effect that would be on the businesses, and the continued effect on that. And a majority of council wrote a letter on top of that and sent that to Jeffco Public Health. And that's what I testified on, the fact that we believed it was a bad time to remask, and then take in other considerations versus that too. And so, but those public orders by both were passed Monday and Tuesday that went into effect on Wednesday. One thing that I can ask everybody on this too is please understand, please give our businesses grace on this. It's hard on their employees. A lot of testimony from people that had 16-year-old employees that were trying to ask people, politely to mask, and they were catching all the grief from that. The businesses, there is a fining component on this if a business doesn't give it a reasonable effort to try to maintain this. The city does not enforce this. It comes from state or public health officials, but please give those employees a extra level of grace. They and those businesses, they're just trying to get through. They're just continuing to try to get through this. So we'll see what the data looks like when we look back on this, when the mask orders were put in place to deal primarily with bed numbers in Colorado. So that that's my point I wanted to make on that. Give them some grace.
No, and I think that's a great point. We touched on this briefly with Mayor McNally last week. It was right off of that public health meeting. We knew it had passed. We hadn't really seen the final drafts that were pushed out. And so what we've done is included in the chat section for you the Tri-County health document, so you can see the specifics around that. Of course, that applies to our Westminster businesses in the Adams County side. These are masks that would be required for children that are from 2 years and up, of course, in their places of business, giving the option for an employer to become an approved vaccine facility if they wanted to go through that process. Of course, with Jefferson County as well, here is the link for you to reference. Jefferson County's goes as far as who it applies to. It's from children that are 3 years of age or up. And of course, Jeffco's is the one that does have the criminalization components to it. So just re-emphasizing what Councilor Seymour was sharing. I don't want to lose sight of Tara's comment referencing the masking up as an act of kindness and shows love to those that we care most about and those that are most vulnerable. Thank you so much, Tara, for this comment. I have shared last week and I will share this again. I am 100% as Councilor Seymour is as well, that we are very aware of COVID, what is going on. We know loved ones that have experienced it. I've had personal ones that have also passed away from it. So this was not an anti-mask discussion that the chamber was having. definitely went back to the comments very early on that Councilor Seymour has referenced, and that was, those kids that are working in those places of businesses, or adults and those customers that are choosing to not listen to the health orders, or a little bit more aggressive and not as kind as necessary, and putting those employees and those businesses in a position where they may be liable for being criminalized and having those fines or the jail time that's there. So thank you so much, Tara, for this comment. I wanted to display it because I did not want to lose sight of this and wanted others to see that as well.
So that was the big issue last week, as far as public health and continuing through this pandemic. But last week's council meeting, we had quite a few items come through. One of the top business items was the fact that passed a councilor bill to continue and put in our code provisions for temporary outdoor dining. That was had been extended through November, and this made this permanent. With our weather as it is, some of the places can extend their outdoor space. Hopefully that we won't have to do it from a distancing and a capacity issue, but it gives them another opportunity. And some of the businesses have found a new way to promote their business too. And so that we codified that. Last week's council meeting also for positive news, we authorized the completion of the last 3 statues to go to our amazing tribute garden, which is one of the only tribute gardens that recognizes all the branches of service, including Coast Guard and Merchant Marine. So we authorized the completion of the statues. The Marine, the Navy, and the Army statue we'll be working on, and we look forward to dedicating those sometime next year. So that was great news for that. I know quite a few people visit that spot, and every year we have an outstanding opportunity to recognize those people who have served and those who are serving currently at that location.
Absolutely. I've included the link for you. If you are not familiar with the Armed Forces Tribute Garden, you can find more information on there. Thank you again, Councilor Seymour, for highlighting the extension of the outdoor space. I know that was a comment that the Chamber had brought forward very early on with COVID, and the Council had adopted that and allowed for our businesses to have that space outside. And now what we're seeing, I've been seeing a lot of businesses, especially with this new health order, that are allowing their facility to be an opt-in, but they're using their outdoor space for those that just want to wear the mask. So it's kind of they have an opportunity of being a little bit creative, as businesses generally are, when there is an order that comes out. So very appreciative of those 2 comments made.
Then on to, and also we recognized a great number of people. It was highly overdue service awards in the city for 25, 30, 35, 40, and we even had a 45-year recognition. Some of those people commented too that they're on the next year of that because we didn't give those out publicly last year. So it was nice to recognize the employees who dedicate them to the service of the city. So, but this week, as we do, we have a study session this week. In December, we will have one less study session because we lose a date. Our charter requires us to have 2 council meetings. And so we'll have, this happens in November and December every year. So we'll consolidate and miss one study session due to the holidays. But this study session be quite a robust discussion. The major component of that is continued discussion on water rates and capital improvement projects in the city. And so we have a great number of new counselors. And so we're going to sit down and review that and then have discussions with city staff and really determine where we're at. Do we have enough water? That's the key for any upcoming developments. Do we want to continue on the path on the Water 2025 water plant? Do we want to update some of the billing cycle, or not cycles, but the billing tiers? And then we'll get a presentation because of the new meters that were installed over the last couple of years. Improvements in the billing cycle so that they're on the same cycle, and then actually being able to bill down to amounts less than 1,000 gallons per. So we can get more accurate billing, more timely billing, and not have cycles that extend past 30 days. So all those are on the docket for tonight, and then also a presentation on internal thoughts on the collective bargaining agreement for the police department. So we'll get an update on where that is.
Awesome. So a lot on your plate for a study session as per usual. The link is also included, and I've displayed it up here for anyone that is interested in seeing the agenda items for study session. Of course, you can also download and see the presentations that's being made. Water has been a hot button topic that's been discussed here in our city. It came around not only through this last election cycle, but several months prior to that leading up to it. So it's nice to see that there is prioritization given to this issue, so that way we can get more of a transparent and holistic look at it. Of course, you can reference the agendas for you in the link into the comment section. And folks can tune in to this either virtually or attend in person. Is that right, Councilor?
That is correct. Yeah, all of our meetings now, including study sessions, are live and streamed and then saved. Just like anywhere else, during the pandemic, we've had some technical issues. Last week, we had some connection issues. All of that was recorded and was back up. We're working through that. There's issues, supply chain issues. Channel 8 has been down. The parts to bring that back up, and then we're going to use that as one of the portals. So our residents who don't feel comfortable with YouTube can just tune into Channel 8 and watch the city council meetings at that point. Okay. But we can't get the part. And so it's, you can't just cross wires and get it back up and hot wire the Channel 8. So we're working on that and trying to continue all the ways that came up from the pandemic for communication with us, receiving emails, live testimony, voicemail, and every avenue is going to remain there so that we can hear from more and more of our residents.
Yeah, I love, COVID has been good for that, is that there are some things that we can definitely keep that we saw work out very well. And I think the ability for people to tune in from their home and see you all virtually, as opposed to a lot of those study sessions where you would tune in and only hear audibly what was going on and not see the entire room. And it makes a difference when you can see people and you can kind of see their engagement and how that's happening. So if you're at all curious about study session, you can visit the link that I've included. Of course, you can engage with them through live testimony at their council meetings, and then through email or voicemails for any types of public comments that you would be liking to make outside of the live testimony at those council meetings. I don't see any comments our way other than Parker Brown giving us a nice good morning message.
Parker's late. What's going on?
I know he's like it's 11 o'clock somewhere. No, but thank you for hopping on here with us, Parker. We won't give you too hard of a time. I know the holidays made you probably a little bit slammed over at your restaurant, so appreciate you tuning in.
I don't have anything other than that's real specific. Council, because you mentioned, and I mentioned too that we have several new council members. One thing that we do, especially when there's every year or every 2 years when there's elections, council sits down together and we go through our internal protocols for council, how we're going to work with each other, all the way down to the little minute details of the meetings and procedures. For instance, this came up immediately. It usually doesn't happen till legislative time, but if we get a request from either our lobbyists down at the legislature or for organizations like the chamber, how do we deal with those requests to support either a bill or support a letter on something that's changing quickly? So those are the type of protocols that we get to do this Saturday. So none of us on council can go to the Grange or the Bowles House. But we will be in chambers working through that. You know what? I don't know if that will be on YouTube. It will be recorded, but it's an open meeting. So if one of my fellow counselors could tune in on that, it's an open meeting because there's more than two of us gathering. Sure. It's not an executive session. We're just going through the fun protocols.
Oh, I see a new comment. Let's see if it's, no, wait, no.
No, it's
No, that has nothing
dice.
to do. Well, we'll find out if it is something that folks can access and include that in the chat section at a later point in time for folks to be aware of. I don't want to lose sight for any of you that are a business that's here in Westminster. We have reopened our PPE distribution. So if you are needing masks, gloves, hand sanitizers, wipes, etc., this is the link. Please share it out with folks that you may know that do not have access to things. May not have, there may be a back chain supply issue, or they just don't generally have on hand a whole lot outside of their employees. We are distributing those out as we are getting those orders in and trying to procure them as much as possible. So make sure that you share that link out to anyone that you may know or be aware of. Mayor Pro Tem DeMott did comment in and said that that is a great question. Last year, that type of session was broadcast. And for any of you that are hopping on, we are referencing that this weekend, our counselors will all be coming together to discuss kind of protocols, processes, and the ways that they go about supporting specific legislative pieces, policy pieces, whether it's with other organizations like ours, the Chamber, at the state capitol, or anyone that really directly touches those policy efforts. So we'll find you that answer. We'll share that. A quick comment was made. This is unrelated to the meetings, but it is related to something that Councilor Seymour has. Now, for many of you that have stopped by his place of business, you may know what Flat Rich is. For those of you that do not, this is the time that you're going to hear about Flat Rich. So talk to us about this.
Well, I'm going to have to blame Brian for bringing this up, but part of promoting my business is I'm known as the guy in the corner. And so many mornings I stand out and wave to the kids going to school and wish them a good morning. And it's become a bit of the thing. And then there was a prototype done. Another friend of mine who is a great business owner and product development person had a flat stand-up of him done. So that was in his office, always there, guarding his office at night. So we have one too. And then we also have mini Flat Rich.
Oh my God.
It goes on travel. So it's just a way to greet people. The kids love it, and it goes to events with us too. It's almost time to retire. His arm is about ready to fall off from kids jumping up and giving him high fives.
Aww.
But, one of our local legislators, I mentioned to her that we might, if we can get a permit, if we retire him, we'll build like a Viking ship and send him out on to Stanley, in a funeral pyre or something like that. So.
Oh, that's so funny. Well, and Mayor McNally nailed this. I was about to say something along these lines that she shared. Share your points for waving or honking when you were on the corner waving. So
it was just something to keep. I get songs stuck in my head, hanging out in the corner for an hour and a half every morning. So I thought, okay, well, if someone smiles, I get a point. If someone waves at me, I get 2 points. If someone honks, I get 3 points. If someone stops by, I get 5 points. I don't subtract points from negative comments though. So it's all about the positive, but thank you, Mayor.
I was about to ask, what about the profanity? Are there any points for creative, colorful language? No, this is, I think it's a great reflection of how you are as an individual, and that's someone that's always in the community, and that friendly face and willingness to see others and bring that smile to their face. So thank you for sharing a little bit more about your marketing item, which is your Flat Rich self. I know you've left it at times where you haven't been able to be places. So, very much appreciate you being there in spirit.
Well, thank you. And I appreciate that. All small businesses, appreciate the recognition, and Westminster residents do a great job of that. And so, thank you. The Chamber's been a big part of our business, and I really appreciate Mayor McNally and Juliet working that. So we all have opportunities to say hello and get to know our residents through this venue. So thank you for hosting.
Could not agree more. Thank you, Councilor. And thank you to everyone that's tuned in on the broadcast. If you've not already done so, hit the share button on your end so your friends and followers and others in your network can see this broadcast, can glean some of the information that we've shared, maybe some of the updates that we've had around public health, all the way to the events and programs, to city council meetings and study sessions that have happened over the last week and moving into this week ahead. So we appreciate you engaging with us. us with your comments, with your likes on the video, and your emotions that you've given. And I hope that you guys have an amazing rest of the day. Councilor Seymour, I appreciate you being on here with us, and I look forward to rotating back to you at some point in the future.
Thank you, Juliet.